Blog Talk Radio.
I know who you are. Yeah, I say I know who you are. Yeah, come on. We stiff necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious.
I know who you are, boy, you need some help. Open your mind and free yourself. Truth and knowledge overpowers wealth. Put education on the shelf and take a second look and see what y'all you took. Fall in love with a bunch of crooks and forget you're the children of that book. To the enemies they told you, made you believe anything they told you, and left you with two decisions. You could choose death or choose religion. But you fell off Jacob's ladder and chose to listen to the master. Got caught in the devil's rapture. Now your life is a whole disaster.
Yeah, I said I know who you are. I know who you are, and I know where you're going. We stiff-necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious.
We're the only ones can't see it. Got the truth but don't believe it. Cursed with being disobedient to the days enslaved in Egypt. Then Moses said, let my people go. Still we act like we ain't know who was our father. We didn't even bother to listen. And not to mention we blatantly worship others. We went from one to another. We threw stones at our brother. When they was trying to just bring us back to the truth, there's nothing wrong with that. Like Stephanos in the book of Acts, and all he did was say the fact.
Yeah, I said I know who you are. I know who you are, and I know where you're going. We stiff-necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious.
I know the keepers of the law were standing tall, staying righteous above them all. What's the call, coach? The other teams fit with many men that's lost hope, cause they don't know the identity, but I do, so they envy me. Cause you're a nation of people that's so rebellious, accusers of your brother. When he speaks the truth, you get jealous. But I stay one accord with all my righteous fellas, cause we know who we are, there's nothing else that you can tell us. Nothing.
Yeah, I said I know who you are. I know who you are, and I know where you're going. Yeah, I said I know who you are. I know who you are, and I know where you're going. We wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious. I strive to be like them. We try our own culture, we deny. So unaware, we blind. We searching for a sign. I know who you are. 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 Who you are. I know who you are. I know who you are.
And this the music of Hen featuring Uriah, taken from the CD Appetizer, I Know Who You Are. You can find him and other artists we feature right here on our show page link, or just hit him up at cdbaby.com. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you and yours, wherever you are on the World Wide Web. You are listening to Let's Talk, brought to you by the Men Empowered Radio Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com. My name is Malachi. I am your host and founder of the Men Empowered Organization. It is a Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Right about now, it's 9:05 Central Standard Time for a December the 2nd, 2012. If you would like to join in on our show conversation while we are here live, you can hit us up at 347-205-9279, or you can join us right there in the chat room at blogtalkradio.com/Men Empowered. So if you're ready to make a comment, press 1 on your phone, and we will plug you right in to our show conversation. And as always, our office here at the Men Empowered Organization is area code 504-484-9388, as well as our email address is menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. And yes, we are on twitter.com. Once again, we're no longer on MySpace as well as Facebook, but you can always reach us at our email address or hit us up at twitter.com. Today we are going to be continuing the book of Jasher. We are now entering in chapter 8. The book of Jasher, chapter 8. Welcome to you all who are in the chat room today. We've got a real good lesson today. Now, to parallel the book of Jasher in chapter 8, somewhere in chapter 11, it kind of kicks off about Abram being born, but the complete version, the complete story of that is in the book of Jasher, chapter 8. So in the book of Genesis, it kind of skips that and kind of gives you a brief overview about Abraham when he is now Abram. So now we are picking it up on the book of Jasher chapter 8, and we're going to go ahead and get into that, and we are going to see what the difference between the book of Jasher and the book of Genesis in the King James. All right, before we go ahead and get started, I want to go ahead and let you know a few announcements. CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, was canceled this past Monday, but we're going to have a makeup show on Monday and Tuesday. Right now, you know, CSI is on the air every Monday at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're going to have a special edition of CSI on Monday as well as Tuesday, kind of making up for we canceling the show on Monday. Some things came up, but we're going to go ahead and do the continuation of CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, and we're going to pick up about the identity theft, and we're going to look at another case of identity theft in the movie The Passion of Christ. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that tomorrow at 5:30 Central Standard Time right here on the Men Empowered Radio Show, CSI. Don't forget, you can always reach the Gathering of Christ Church on their Blog Talk Radio Monday through Friday, 5 nights a week. You want to check them out at Blog Talk Radio /GOC Church, CHURCH. That's GOC Church. Or just put it in when you go to Blog Talk Radio, the Gathering of Christ. And for a more in-depth study, you definitely want to stay tuned for my brothers right there at the Gathering of Christ Church. Also reminding you again that I am a graduate of the Hebrew Academy, and the Hebrew Academy will be starting December the 23rd, but you have to be registered. The deadline for that is December the 14th. So for more information on that, you can go and email them at thegatheringas1 at AOL.com. Or you can go to their website. The official website is thegatheringofchrist.org. So stay tuned for that. It will behoove you to get involved in the Hebrew Academy. You're going to have in-depth study of the Hebrew language, the ancient Hebrew language. You're going to know about the Apocrypha books. Why did they take the Apocrypha books out of the King James? Did you know or did you not know that the King James, the 1611 King James book, had 14 other books that they were abiding by? So if you want to learn about more information on that, you definitely need to be a part of the Hebrew Academy presented by my elders at the Gathering of Christ Church. You can also find them on YouTube as well as Ustream. Okay? Now, Hosea 4:6 says, My people perish for lack of knowledge. Here at the Men in Power organization, we don't want to perish. We want to know what the Most High has for us. So, once again, we're going to go ahead and get into the book of Jasher, starting with Jasher chapter 8. Let's go to verse 1. Praise the Most High for his word. It will be here on the earth today. All right, Jasher chapter 8, verse 1. And it was in the night that Abram was born that all the servants of Terah and all the wise men of Nimrod and his conjurers came and ate and drank in the house of Terah, and they rejoiced with him on that night. Verse 2. And when all the wise men and conjurers went out from the house of Terah, they lifted up their eyes toward heaven that night to look at the stars, and they saw, and behold, one very large star came from the east and ran in the heavens. And he swallowed up the 4 stars from the 4 sides of the heavens. Who can explain that precept right there of verse chapter 2? And he swallowed up the 4 stars from the 4 sides of the heavens. Wow. Verse 3. And all the wise men of the kings and the conjurers were astonished at the sight, and the sages understood this matter, and they knew its import. Verse 4. And they said to each other, this only betokens the child that has been born to Terah this night, who will grow up and be fruitful and multiply and possess all the earth, he and his children forever. And he and his seed will slay great kings and inherit their lands. Aha. Now see, this is when Abram was born, and they're already prophesying great things to Abraham already. Verse 5. And the wise men and conjurers went home that night, and in the morning all these wise men and conjurers rose up early and assembled in an appointed house. Verse 6. And they spoke and said to each other, behold, the sight that we saw last night is hidden from the king. It has not been made known to him. Interesting. Okay. Where were we? Verse 7. And should this thing get known to the king in the latter days, he will say to us, why have you conceived this matter from me? And then we shall all suffer death. Therefore now let us go and tell the king the sight which we saw and the interpretation thereof, and we shall then remain clear. Aha, you see what is happening now in the understanding of verse 2 is coming to pass now. All right. Verse 8. And they did so, and they all went to the king and bowed down to him to the ground, and they said, may the king live. May the king live. Verse 9, we heard that a son was born to Terah, the son of Nahum, the prince of thy host. And we yesternight came to his house, and we ate and drank and rejoiced with him that night. Verse 10, and when thy servant went out from the house of Terah to go to our respective homes to abide there for the night, we lifted up our eyes to heaven, and we saw a great star coming from the east, and the same star ran with great speed and swallowed up 4 great stars from the 4 sides of the heaven. Verse 11. And thy servants were astonished at the sight which we saw, with great terrified, and made our judgment upon the sight, and knew by our wisdom the proper interpretation thereof, that this applies to the child that is born to Terah, who will grow up and multiply greatly, and become powerful, and kill all the kings of the earth, and inherit all the lands, he and his seed forever. You get the picture now. All right, verse 12. And now, our Lord and King, behold, we have truly acquainted thee with what we have seen concerning this child. Verse 13. If it seemeth good to know to give his father value for this child, we will slay him before he shall grow up and increase in the land, and his evil increase against us, that we and our children perish through his evil. You get the picture now. They're trying to destroy the seed that was going to come from Abraham. All right, verse 14. And the king heard their words, and they seemed good in his sight. And he sent and called for Terah, and Terah came before the king. Okay. Verse 15. And the king said to Terah, I have been told that a son was yesternight born to thee, and after this manner was observed in the heavens at his birth. And now therefore give me the child, that we may slay him before his evil springs up against us, and I will give thee for his value thy house full of silver and gold. It's coming to light now. It's coming to light. Satan is trying to work through Nimrod to destroy the seed that is going to come through Abraham's seed. Y'all get the picture? Do you get the picture? Wow, this is interesting. Verse 17. And Terah answered the king and said to him, My Lord and King, I have heard thy words, and thy servants shall do all that his king desired. But, my Lord and King, I will tell thee what happened to me yesternight, that I may see what advice the king will give his servant, and then I will answer the king upon what he has just spoken. And the king said, Speak. Verse 19. And Terah said to the king, Ayon, son of Morek, came to me yesternight, saying, verse 20, Give unto me the great and beautiful horse that the king gave thee, and I will give thee silver and gold and straw and provernance for its value. And I said to him, Wait till I see the king concerning thy words. And behold, whatever the king said, that will I do. Verse 21, And now, my Lord and King, behold, I have made this thing known to thee, and the advice which my king will give unto his servant, that will I follow. Verse 22. And the king heard the words of Terah, and his anger was kindled, and he be considered him in the light of a fool. Verse 23. And the king answered Terah and he said to him, silly, ignorant, or divisive in understanding to the things to give thy beautiful horse for silver and gold, or even for straw and provender? He's asking the question. Verse 24, art thou so short of silver and gold that thou shouldest do this thing, because thou canst not obtain straw and provender to feed thy horse? And what is silver and gold to thee, or straw and provender, that thou should give away thy fine horse which I gave thee, like which there is none to be had on the whole earth? And the king left off speaking, and Terah answered the king, saying, Like unto this has the king spoken to his servant. Verse 26, I beseech thee, my lord and king, what is this which thou didst say unto me, saying, Give thy son that we may slay him, and I give him thee silver and gold for his value? What shall I do with silver and gold after the death of my son? Who shall inherit me? Surely then at my death the silver and gold will return to my king who gave it. Verse 27, and when the king heard the words of Terah and the parable which he brought concerning the king, it grieved him greatly, and he was vexed at this thing, and his anger burned within him. Verse 28, and Terah saw that the anger of the king was kindled against him, and he answered the king, saying, All that I have is in the king's power. Whatever the king desired to do to his servant, that let him do. Yea, even my son, he is in the king's power, without value in exchange, he and his two brothers that are older than he. Verse 29, and the king said to Terah, No, but I will purchase the younger son for a price. Verse 30, and Terah answered the king, saying, I beseech thee, my lord and king, to let thy servant speak a word before thee, and let the king hear the word of his servant. And Terah said, Let my king give me 3 days time till I consider this matter within myself and consult with my family concerning the words of my king. And he pressed the king greatly to agree to this. And the king hearkened to Terah, and he did so. And he gave him 3 days' time. And Terah went out from the king's presence, and he came home to his family and spoke to them all the words of the king, and the people were greatly afraid. And it was in the 3rd day that the king sent to Terah, saying, Send me thy son for a price, as I spoke to thee. And shouldst thou not do this, I will send and slay all thou hast in thy house, so that thou shalt not even have a dog remaining. Verse 33, and Terah hastened as the things was urgent from the king, and took a child from one of his servants, which his handmaiden had born to him that day. And Terah brought the child to the king and received value for him. Verse 34, and the Lord was with Terah in this matter, that Nimrod might not cause Abram's death. And the king took the child from Terah, and with all his might dashed his head to the ground, for he thought it had been Abram. And this was conceived from him from that day, and it was forgotten by the king, and it was the will of providence not to suffer Abram's death. Verse 35. It's kind of hard to stomach that what Nimrod had did in that particular time. I don't know about y'all, but I've got a heart. My heart goes out to that handmaiden child. That's imagine that living in the era of, I want to say, in the descendants of Ham, which is Shaka Zulu, I believe. They were the Egyptians. The Egyptians were cast out of Egypt. The Egyptians that are there today are not the original Egyptians in the country of Egypt. And they have moved down southward into the central part of Africa, as well as the southern part of Africa, known as South Africa. Some are the South Africans. You do have a few Hebrew Israelites that have moved into that particular time from the West Africa part. We were ran out of Israel to the south in 70 A.D. when the Romans descended up on that area back around 70 A.D. You can look at the accounts of the book of Josephus, and you can get that account of that. Also, the Israelites had 12 tribes: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, and Benjamin. Without Abram's seed being born, without Abram, this would not have happened. But it did come to pass that Abram was survived, and we see that the Most High was with him because he had to have Christ come through this particular seed. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Christ came through Jacob, and he was born in the tribe of Judah. And the descendants of Judah today, you can find them scattered in the Western Hemisphere as well as England today. We're kind of all over, but we were, because of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68, we were scattered into the Americas here. So the tribe of Judah is also known as the so-called Negroes here today. If you look up the definition of the descendants of Ham, you will see that it will say that it is the offspring of blacks in Africa, not the Negroes, because the Negroes came from the line of Shem. But that's another story. I just wanted to just kind of let you know how we started from the beginning. Remember the movie Star Wars? Remember the first Star Wars? And it showed you how the Empire had gotten on top of the Jedi Knights as well as that particular kingdom. So the Jedi Knights, when you saw Star Wars, the first Star Wars, you saw them in the middle of a war. You do not know how this preceded by that. So they came out, with a movie. They came out with a movie with Samuel L. Jackson, and it was talking about the Jedi Kingdom or the Return of the Jedi, something like that. So this movie came after all the Star Wars series to give you the beginning of all of this. Well, this is like the book of Jasher, giving you the beginning and the full, complete story to let you know how Abraham came about. Well, for those of you all who are online, if you have any questions or if you have any comments, you need to hit us up at 347-205-9279 and press 1 on your phone. We're now going into the overtime on this, and we want to go ahead and try to complete the story. And so I was just kind of giving you a little bit of information on the book of Jasher, trying to explain a little bit about Abram and when his name was changed to Abraham. So this is the story before Abraham was known as Abraham, starting with Abram. Okay? Now, let's start at, where was I? Let's go back to 35. And Terah took Abram and his son secretly together with his mother and nurse, and he conceived them in a cave, and he brought them their provisions monthly. You see, they're hiding till all this kind of comes down. Okay? Let's back up to verse 34. I got kind of sidetracked, and I kind of missed that a little bit. And the Lord was with Terah in this matter, and Nimrod's might not cause Abram's death. And the king took the child from Terah, and with all his might dashed his head to the ground. And he thought it was Abram, and this was conceived from that day, and it was forgotten by the king, as it was the will of the providence not to suffer Abram's death. And Terah, verse 35, and Terah took Abram his son secretly together with his mother and nurse, and he conceived them in a cave, and he brought them their provisions monthly. Okay? Now, verse 36. And the Most High was with Abram in the cave, and he grew up. And Abram was in the cave 10 years, 10 years in the cave. And the king and his prince, soothsayers and sages, thought the king had killed Abram. Okay, now we're heading into into the book of Jasher, chapter 9. But that's going to basically do it for right now. I've got to prepare for other things, but we're going to pick this back up on chapter 9. And I want to just kind of give you a tidbit on chapter 9 if you do not have the book of Jasher. Chapter 9, verses 1 through 3. And Haran, the son of Terah, Abram's older brother, took a wife in those days. Haran was 39 years old when he took her, and the wife of Haran conceived and bare a son. He called his name Lot. You get the picture. His name is called Lot. All right, verse 3 of chapter 9. And she conceived again and bare a daughter, and she called his name Milah. And she again conceived and bare a daughter and called her Sarai. You get the picture. Sarai. Haran was 42 years old when he begot Sarai, which was the 10th year of the life of Abram. And in those days, Abram and his mother and nurse went out from the cave, as the king and his subjects had forgotten the affair of Abram. I want to continue this. Verse 5. And when Abram came out from the cave, he went to Noah and his son Shem, and he remained with them to learn the instructions of the Most High and his ways. And no man knew where Abram was, and Abram served Noah and Shem, his son, for a long time. We're going to stop right there, but you get the picture where this is all setting up the life of Abram, which is getting ready to turn into where we see his wife. He knew her at an early age and is getting ready to get things set up and knowing his life as well as life. Now, we know this according to Genesis, so we didn't know the complete and beginning story in Jasher. So now, next week, we're going to pick up Jasher chapter 9, and we're going to complete the story of the book of Jasher chapter 9 next Sunday at 9 a.m. Don't forget, on Monday and Tuesday, we will go ahead and have the CSI series right here on the Blog Talk Radio network Monday and Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So until next time, we're going to look at CSI, and we're also going to be with us again on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, the continuation of the book of Jasher right here on Let's Talk, brought to you by the Men Empowered Radio Show. Until Until next time, my name is Malachi, and I will see you tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Shalom.
I wanna call my home. Study war no more. Live in shalom. Only 144,000 of Jacob will make it in. Is Christ your friend? No need to pretend. Here's the question: did you walk in faith or did you walk in sin? Did you keep the law or did you pick and choose? Did you tell the truth about who's the real Jews? There's no excuse. You had the clues, but you closed the book and turned on the news. And when Christ breaks the sky, every satellite will fall from space, hit the earth and die, and then fight after disaster from the master. Puzzle faces looking for the rapture. True, the day that Christ provides birth so they can partake heaven here on earth.
American dream, a family, a dog, a picket fence, and house that is clean. That's through the habit, it's just envy, the straight. The root of evil is money, it ain't the most highway. 144,000 will bask in his glory. Life is an apartment building, cause there's more than one story. I accepted the most high, and what was I on? Day to pass like Mike, and I'm the future like LeBron. I follow the commandments, cause the most high said so. Red Bull and Xbox will get your wings in a halo. My people is flying, and it's making me sick. Just because you repent ain't putting you on that list. Ain't no cutting in line, ain't no paying the dough, man. Don't matter if you're rich or whether you're poor, man. If you obedient and you're filled with the faith, in the upper room will be your final resting place, and that's heaven.
The throne of the Father, you still sinning, don't even bother. You not going if you follow Sean Carter. A little word, he another Carter. From Obama back to Jimmy Carter. America not Babylon, it's just a daughter. Told us to get bitches that shine like 2 quarters. Son's gonna die, you make it call a martyr. Don't elevate your mind, let it cross the expansion. I want a room in a heavenly mansion. Don't try to figure it out your path, don't let it choose you. You can play it back, I'm not trying to confuse you. Poetical prophet, truth set me to gifted. Cerebral technician, the microphone I lifted. Thinking you can wait to get in, you can save it. Signing off quad to 6-foot David.
Let me tell you what it feel like. Real right, so I'm back in the feel like. Examine yourself before the judge come in the heat of the night like O'Connor. So I'm gonna show you how to live it when I spit it through the spirit. Hope you feel it. This is the spirit that teaches when you hear it. So when it's death there, it's death there. So don't step there. But self-rearrange and let the Most High change you, my brother. That's what I utter with them dead bone tang. Who them? The strange fruit that used to hang. Now I'm spitting out truth for the youth to change. To see us like heaven. When them guns down, when the word is your weapon and the Lord to your weapon. Not Baal, but our master in heaven. And there's no more jails for the nation. That's heaven. That's heaven. Heaven.